Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live taping of the Newsman Weekly Podcast, episode number, holy crap, 100. That's certainly more than it deserves. I thank you. We are here at Relaxed. It's just coffee in beautiful downtown Mansfield, where the coffee is hot, the gossip is hotter, and half of you probably checked the police calls before you came in this morning. Hey, just so you know, the coffee's on us this morning. At least $100 worth. So as we go along today, you want a coffee, go grab one, come back in. We're happy to pay for it. You know, we are glad you're here today. Seriously, on a Monday morning, you literally could be, anywhere else. Hell, just finding a way through the Main Street construction this morning qualifies you for a commuter medal. Seriously, give yourselves a round of applause for making it here. Because downtown's Mansfield traffic right now feels less like GPS navigation and more like an escape room. Sorry, Jodie, Perry, we joke because we care. Folks, we all know you still could be in bed. You could be pretending to work while scrolling Facebook. You could be working from home, which for many of you it means just drinking coffee in pajama pants while staring blankly at your emails. Instead, you chose to drink coffee and listen to people talk about local news. That makes you our kind of people. And let's hear it for Relax. It's just coffee, the only place in town where you can get a cinnamon roll, a double espresso, and an update on city council drama, all in that same order. Now, this is a live podcast, the first time we've ever tried this. That means anything could happen. A microphone would quit. A camera might stop working, and somebody's phone's definitely going to ring. There's at least a 50-50 chance somebody here knows a guy who has the real story about whatever we're going to talk about today. Or some guy in the back might stand up and say, hey, that's not what I heard. All right. Most importantly, thank you for supporting local journalism, local business, and local conversation. Mansfield has great stories because of people like you who care enough to show up every day. So grab your coffee, settle in, and boys and girls, let's make some news. All right, guys, let's start the show. Well, greetings and salutations, and welcome once again to the Newsman Weekly Podcast, where new ideas and fresh dreams go to die each and every week. Yep. It's hard to believe this is the 100th episode of this show. Honestly, after about episode 12, we were shocked anybody was still listening, including some of our own family members. We know our boss, Jay Allred, doesn't listen. He would have canceled this crap in a heartbeat if he actually had any idea what we were doing every week. Yep. It's better than I will tell you, a couple of weeks ago when we taped an intro and I made fun of Paul and Relax, It's Just Coffee, my wife said, well, you shouldn't do that. Paul's going to get mad. And what does Jay say about this? I said, first of all, Paul has a sense of humor, and Jay doesn't listen, so I think we'll be okay. So 100 shows later, we are proof that with enough coffee, low standards, and microphones that only sometimes work, anything is damn possible. So before we go any further, allow me to introduce my partners in crime on this weekly madness. Say hello to executive producer Zach Heiser.
Hello.
Managing editor Larry Phillips. Yeah. And also Hayden Gray, our videographer, for at least one more week.
Boo.
Yeah, this is it for me.
Good morning, gentlemen. How the
Carl.
hell are you? And speaking of hell, how the hell was your weekend?
Morning, Carl. Well, I'm pretty comfy back here in my little producer nook. I like being right behind Hayden.
Well, everybody likes being behind Hayden because he's tall and he blocks the damn sun.
That's true. My weekend was good. It was a banner weekend Friday night in Mansfield. I went to Final Friday, and there was also Peace on My Block and a race out at the Speedway, and I heard all three events were pretty crowded.
Well, I was at home and didn't take in any of them, but I'm glad everybody else. Hayden, what about you?
Yeah, I went to Peace on My Block on Friday to check out the Golden Knights parachute team, which was pretty pretty entertaining.
They're not bad for a bunch of Army guys. I'll give them that.
I didn't know the end zone that I was standing in, that was gonna be where they were gonna come down onto the field and scare the living daylights out of me when some guy was like 5 feet from above my head. But
so wait, where did you think they were going to land?
Well, I knew they were going to make it to the field, but I didn't know if they were going to be coming from in front of me or behind.
Land across the street at the Mid-Ohio Educational Service Center?
Could have, but no one broke an ankle, which was good to my knowledge.
That's very good.
I saw the fireworks at Peace on My Block. Did anyone else catch those? Did anyone else see the explosion at the very end? What was that? There was like a nuclear bomb that went off at the end of the, and it sent all these puffs of black smoke in the air. It was crazy.
We had a nuclear bomb in Mansfield, and we didn't report that.
I didn't know that after.
Great work on our part.
I didn't know that once the final parachutists or whatever they would be called landed, that they were going to do like the really loud cannon ones. I was walking back to my car and I did not pee my pants, but I was close.
I'm certainly glad you kept your bodily
close.
fluids to yourself. Larry, you're here, so what did you do this weekend?
Well, I was on vacation, and I got a chance to see all the things that you guys were doing while I was on vacation. Peace on My Block with great video, by the way, Hayden. And also, just looking ahead to this weekend, we've got Party in the Pen at OSR. So the summer activities continue, and good photos from Rob at Peace on My Block.
Final Friday.
Final Friday.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Final Friday. Just shows all the events that are going on. I can't keep them straight.
It's your vacation brain. Welcome back.
Well, I did absolutely nothing this weekend, except I did go out to Madison Comprehensive High School. Actually, it's at the junior high on Sunday afternoon to cover the 101st commencement exercises. Yeah. I will tell you, at 65 and being rather overweight, my knees cannot handle kneeling down on gym floors very often. But, while we're here, Zach, Hayden, I know you guys want to talk about this. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I have to mention this because we talk about it enough. The Cleveland Cavaliers have flamed out just as we expected them to. So please give us a little rigor mortis, post-mortem on the Cleveland Cavaliers and while they'll never reach this point again.
Getting to the Eastern Conference Finals is flaming out.
Yeah.
Yes, 29 of 30 teams will flame out every year. Then
Carl's just mad that he lost a six-pack bet. That they wouldn't make it out of the second round.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get that 12 I left?
I certainly did. That made for a good Friday night. Thank you very much.
My cope with the Cavs is, they James Harden and Donovan Mitchell only played together for a couple months, so give them a full year, and we'll see you back here next year.
Yes. I was glad to see James Harden lived up to his reputation in that 4-game sweep to the Knicks. All right, folks, enough sports. We all know you hate sports. We've got a great show lined up for you this morning. In just a few minutes, we'll be joined by director Joe Fahey and actor Josh Carpenter from the Mansfield Shakespeare Company. The local company is going to be staging Hamlet, June 19, 20, and 21 at South Park. They'll bring us up to speed on what to expect. And I do have one Hamlet joke that I got to tell before they come up here, because I don't want to embarrass them, but here's my Hamlet joke.
Out of the way.
A guy's walking down a street 3 o'clock in the morning in New York City. He's drunk, as people often might be at 3 a.m. in New York City, and he's an actor, struggling actor, and he begins shouting, "To be or not to be," and he just keeps doing that. Well, lights start coming on in the various apartment buildings as he's waking people up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but he keeps doing it and doing it. Finally, a guy throws open his window and says, "Hey, asshole, to sleep, perchance to dream," and slams the window shut. That's my Hamlet joke. And we'll have to bleep out.
Was that an autobiographical story?
No.
Yeah, we need the laugh.
No, that was not me in
sign.
1980 walking down the streets of New York. All right. After we talk to the folks from the Mansfield Shakespeare Company, we're going to visit with a local musician. And my computer just blinked off. Cody Nicolas. Cody's got a lot going on these days. He's going to tell us about that. And if you see by the microphone, we're also going to have him be the first guest we've ever had in 100 episodes who's actually going to perform music live here on the show.
All right.
Yeah.
And after that, we'll end with Mayor Jodie Perry and City Engineer Bob Bianchi. We are sitting right next to Main Street this morning, and it seemed like a perfect time to talk to them about the ongoing $20 million Main Street improvement project that's taking place in downtown Mansfield. Some of you may have heard about that in the last couple of days. So we got a lot going on. But before we start with our guests, we're going to give a couple of things away. Zach, what do we have to offer, and how are we going to do it?
We have got I survived the Main Street Beautification Project green construction shirt up here, and a $25 Relax It's Just Coffee gift card to give away.
All right, huge mega prizes, thanks to Paul, and certainly the kind of things you'd expect to win from a show of this magnitude. So, all right, we're going to do it. I think we'll try this. We're going to do a trivia contest, a Newsman Weekly trivia contest. We'll make the first one multiple choice. First one to get it right will get the T-shirt.
Sure.
We'll start with that. All right. Who was the first ever guest on the Newsman Weekly podcast? Was it Richland County Commissioner Tony Vero, Mansfield City Councilman Aurelio Diaz, or Mansfield Public Works Director Louis Andre?
Do I get to answer?
No, you don't, even though you weren't there. Aurelio, what's your guess? Well, you can't guess. I mentioned one of them. Look at that. A public servant trying to cash in early. Who knew that would happen? What's that?
I said 2 options left.
2 options left. You can
Come
go
on,
50.
folks.
Just shout it out. Tony Vero, that's wrong. There's only one left. Somebody get it. Louis Andres, yes. Tammy wins. Get her that T-shirt.
If
All
you
right.
can reach it.
Now we're going for the big prize, and I quickly have to rethink because that's the only trivia question I had in mind. All right. We'll try this one.
Could play musical chairs.
Anybody that's listening to the show, we've talked about this many, many times, my misspent youth in college. So the first person who can say where the newsman went to college will hand you this $25 gift card to Relax. Anybody?
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll put it this way. It's not the Ohio State University because they wouldn't let me in. That's hard to believe, but it's south of Columbus.
$25 gift card on the line here.
Their mascot is something called a bobcat.
Oh,
In the
man.
back.
The Ohio University. Yay! Yes. Founded in 1804. We were there, the first college in the Northwest Territory, and way before that, Farmers College started in Columbus.
And thank
All
you
right.
to Relax It's Just
Yes,
Coffee
thank
for
you.
giving away those prizes
Yes.
and
Great prizes from
sponsoring
Paul
our
Kimberly.
show,
Thank you very
keeping us
much.
going.
Now, we usually offer some local news at this point in the show, but with the great guests we've got today, I'm going to boil them down this morning. Bucky's Travel Center, that issue's coming before Mansfield City Council on Tuesday. Mansfield and Richland County want to put a solar farm on top of closed local landfills. That's also going to be before City Council on Tuesday. And in case you didn't know it, local restaurateur owner Dan Liu is buying, oh no. Oh, we have Skate, Ohio stumbling in drunk as always.
At 9 a.m.
9 a.m. you guys could sober up once in a while.
Oh, man.
Who knew this was going to happen?
Oh, man.
They've got their own music. They've got their own belts. You know, you tell people in advance you're going to do something, you hope and pray something like this doesn't happen. But yet here they are. It's a takeover. They've got a boombox.
This man,
All right,
this
Skate
man
Ohio
on.
has
This man
shown
on.
Skate
up
Ohio,
and shown out.
you got something to say, sir?
I got something to say, Carl.
This is not good. This was
Carl,
Yes, sir.
man, you never expect the hitman, but the hitman gonna show up when you least expect it.
No one
What's
ever
up, people?
No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Exactly, Carl. You know I'm hurt, Carl. I'm hurt.
What?
I
You're hurt?
specifically asked you, Carl, for me to be on the 100th episode of the Newsman Weekly.
Well, I specifically said no, so here we
you
are.
You think that you don't have to have me here? Is that what you think, Carl?
I don't
It
think-
doesn't matter what you think, Carl.
Oh, jeez. This is not.
Yeah.
This will not end well.
So I had to bring the F-bomb out of retirement to team up with me so that I can become, say it with me, people, the 5-time.
5-time?
5-time.
What?
5-time.
What?
5-time.
What?
5-time greatest champion this pitiful show has ever seen.
Oh. It's
Oh, Carl.
So what's new with Skate Ohio since you just skated in?
That's right, baby. We're still looking for sponsors, for vendors, for people to come alongside us so we can keep doing good things.
Wait, that's what we're
What
doing here today.
happens? Here you get to see firsthand what happens when you don't support local skateboarding people, we can be as annoying as we need to be.
Yes, apparently.
That's right. We'll show up wherever, whenever, uninvited, doesn't matter. Here we are. And that's the bottom line. Because Skate OH said so.
Oh, man. That is very
Cut this man's
disconcerting.
mic.
We had no idea this was going to happen.
Hey.
Was not on the schedule.
First on script.
There you have it.
I was a little concerned. Little dude was staring me down.
These guys are very frightening.
I don't think he stopped staring at me the entire time.
No, I
Not part of the
Little dude was
script.
staring me down. Holy.
All right, let's try to bring this thing back into some semblance of order. As I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted, local restaurateur Dan Liu is buying the Coney Island Diner business on North Main Street.
Right behind
Said
you.
he was going to be taking over operations in early July, but we saw him out there this morning with a broom in his hand, already sweeping the
Getting after
streets.
it.
So I did a story about that last week, so check out the link in the show notes. It was a busy weekend in Mansfield. They had racing at the Mansfield Speedway, Final Friday at the Brickyard, Peace on My Block in Arlen Field, and yes, we covered it all, and you can read it all about at richlandsource.com. How many of you knew that there was a great website in town that has all the news you need, and it's called richlandsource.com? If so, raise your hand. Hey, look at that, everybody knew. Even the young man in the back who raised 2 hands. Thank you, young man. All right, that's enough for now. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be joined by director Joe Fahey and actor Josh Carpenter from the Mansfield Shakespeare Company. We are live here at Relax. It's Just Coffee in downtown Mansfield. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Newsman Weekly. We have survived the Skate Ohio takeover. And folks, if you were wondering, I literally had no idea they were coming. I'm not making that up. Those guys don't tell me anything. They just show up and ingratiate themselves, but we're glad to have them. Joining us now, as promised, are director Joe Fahey and actor Josh Carpenter from the Mansfield Shakespeare Company. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for getting up so damn early.
Thank you for having us, Carl.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, let's start with this. What the hell is the Mansfield Shakespeare Company, and how did it come to be?
Sure. So the Mansfield Shakespeare Company formed about 3 years ago, a group of dedicated locals who wanted to bring free public Shakespeare to Mansfield, inspired in part by what was happening in Columbus and Cleveland. And we've had 2 shows so far, a couple of shared experiences with the Ohio State University Theater Program, and this will be our 3rd summer Shakespeare in the Park.
All right, now for people who know the title that you're going to be doing Hamlet, but they've never seen the play, how in the world does Hamlet still connect with audiences more than 400 years after some guy named Shakespeare wrote it?
Yeah, I got the finger point from Joe to explain. I think Hamlet is timeless because everybody at some point in their life will experience grief, and they won't know how to deal with it. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who experiences grief also has to revenge their dead father.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
That's
good to know.
I hope not. But it's a shared grief that we can have with Hamlet. He descends into madness because he doesn't know how to process these emotions. And I think no matter when we are, 100 years from now, 300 years from now, we're still going to be experiencing grief and not really knowing what to do with those emotions.
All right, Joe, what was your vision for this production? And Josh, what drew you to want to play the lead character in this show?
Sure. So in terms of vision, we always have to be careful that we don't let the vision take control over the script. So we want to balance the greatness of the original with our unique take on it. We had set this play in an alternate dystopian 1950s, and our focus was on a fast-moving script that focused on the conflict between the families, but also on the succession to power, and as Josh said so eloquently, this struggle with grief and love and self-doubt.
And Josh, what made you think, you know what, when I get up this morning, I think I want to be Hamlet?
Oh, purely ego. No, I can pinpoint it. My junior year of high school, I had Miss Tyson at Ontario High School, and we read Hamlet. And funnily enough, I had just come off of doing Lion King at the Playhouse, and For those that don't know, Lion King is loosely based on Hamlet.
I did not know that.
Wow.
We started to read through Hamlet, and I was like, this is the best thing that I've ever read. And I hold it to this day that it is my favorite book, my favorite play, my favorite Shakespeare. It is the top of my list. So I told myself, he's got some killer monologues, and I want to do those. And luckily, I can't express this enough, we have a killer cast and crew that are so painfully supportive that even though I'm memorizing a book, every flub up there to go, remember, you got yourself into this. It's okay.
Well, it's funny. When I've been involved in theater and done shows, I usually think of the script as just a good starting point. And if I can do that, embellish that, change some words. But with Shakespeare, can you do that very much?
No, but I will anyway.
Don't say that in front of Joe.
So Joe, I've done all of our summer shows, and every year I get the same beautiful notes from our stage manager Heidi, who is here, which are, I get what you're trying to do, but remember it's Shakespeare. You have to keep it right. So it's a painful journey, but I feel like this is probably the closest to the book that I've been out of the past summer shows.
Carl,
Right.
can I interject? I'm going to anyway.
Please.
As someone, the last time that I probably looked closely at Shakespeare was college.
Yeah.
But it's
And by
certainly
closely, he means Cliff Notes.
not true. I have this huge Shakespeare book. Anyway, it's something that obviously it's a little bit it's pretty difficult to read. Not that people can't, but it can be challenging to understand. Do you think coming to these productions of it can be maybe a more subtle introduction to Shakespeare for some people who haven't read it, but it might be better to see it actually acted out?
I think so. One of the beautiful things about the Mansfield Shakespeare Company is not in a way that deters from the script, but all of our scripts so far have been abridged. So they've been shortened a little bit. They cut out some of the things that I don't want to say are less important, but they make Hamlet, which is traditionally a 5-hour play, palatable at a 2-hour play.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you just say 5-hour play?
Yeah. And it's a heavy task. And we do it in the park for free. So we get a lot of people coming in. I think my favorite thing that's happened every year is during Tech Week. We have people from the park because we're in a public space. Yeah. They just kind of wander over and ask what we're doing. And once we tell them, they'll sit for like half hour, 45 minutes, and then we see them at one of the shows. It's a really approachable way to get into Shakespeare. It's not as scary when you watch it performed because it's a script. You can only do so much with it in an academic setting reading it, especially for somebody that's not like academically focused on Shakespeare. If you just want the story, it is always better to see it performed.
Yeah.
Now, guys, this, as you mentioned, this production is being staged outdoors at South Park. It is free, June 19, 2021, if people want to come see it. But how does performing Shakespeare in an open-air setting kind of change the experience for actors and the audience?
Sure. Well, I've had the great pleasure of producing, performing, and now directing in each of these 3 productions, so I can have a pretty good perspective on that. One of the most amazing things about this park experience is that the audience is very actively a part of the production. So the actors see the audience in broad daylight, and even as the evening, the light starts to dim, we have the great fun of interacting with them in a very meaningful, very real, very immediate way. And they feed the energy of the actors in a really lovely way as well. So just that communal sense of connection with your audience and the way that the actors build the energy of the story in that shared environment is really a unique experience.
Josh, from your standpoint, are you praying for no rain, but yet not 98 degrees?
I always do. There's a beauty in performing at the park. Luckily, our show starts at 7:30, so we're past the heat of the day. But our call to start setting up the park is at 5 o'clock, which is still slightly in the heat of the day. So it can be exhausting, but it always pays off. It's always such a good experience to have. I think this is the latest that we've started. I think at least the first year we started a little bit earlier. I think we started at 7. And because of the way that the cabin is placed in the park, that opening scene, you always have the sun just right in your eyes. And you just hope and you pray that, good Lord, the sunset's coming soon.
Yes. All right, Josh, what's been the biggest challenge about bringing Hamlet, your character, to life? And I know you're well familiar with it before you started, but have you discovered anything about the character that you didn't know or didn't think about before this particular show?
I've learned more, about myself than I have about Hamlet. I think I came into this knowing who Hamlet was and who I was, and then there's been this gray area of sometimes in the middle of a rehearsal, I don't know where that line really is, where he stops and I start. I've mentioned this to people in the cast that my own father passed when I was younger. So when Hamlet is dealing with this grief, when he's dealing with everything around him, it's very real. Little fun fact, we had a rehearsal last night, and in the middle of the rehearsal, I started to tear up for a scene between myself and Ophelia when Hamlet goes, "I loved you not." Because it is just this heartbreaking moment that I've read 100 times, but when you're really in that moment with your fellow actors, it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart because it breaks his heart.
Excellent. Now, Joe, every director puts a unique stamp on Shakespeare. What makes this company production different from others that audiences may have seen? I think you said something about 1950s, so talk more about that.
Sure. And I don't want to get too deep into the aesthetics of the production because the actors are doing such wonderful work with the script. But basically, we're creating a world where suspicion is everywhere. And there's a sense that this person who's come to power, Claudius, played beautifully by Steve Russell, is uncertain about his power and trying to consolidate the control that he has, but at the same time understanding that he can't manipulate all the people that he wants to manipulate. And in the midst of that, you have this very fast-moving, relatively, I won't say short because 2 hours is what 2 hours is, but certainly abridged significantly, action-filled script where everybody is trying to make sense of their new place in this very chaotic world. And underneath all of that, you have this absolutely gorgeous language of Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Now, Steve, the aforementioned Steve Russell, certified friend of the show, and once again, Steve has an advantage being from England. The accent comes easily to him, so congratulations. Look forward to that. Now, guys, community theater of all kinds, whether it's at the Renaissance, the Playhouse, South Park, requires a tremendous amount of volunteer talent. I don't think anybody's getting paid a whole lot. So what does it say about Mansfield that a company like the Mansfield Shakespeare Company can keep producing for local audiences? What does it take? How many folks are involved?
Sure. In our cast, over 20. In our production team, all told, over 30. But honestly, the thing that keeps us going, the thing that makes this possible in Mansfield is that people turn out to see it. We've had 400 to 500 people attend these shows over the past 2 years. We expect a similar number. This is probably the only time you'll see Hamlet locally in the next 20 years. So there is a sense that that energy, that awareness that we're trying to do something for the community and that people are responding very eagerly to it, that is what keeps us going.
I think especially with our younger cast members, we always have like one kid in the cast. This year we have 3 high school students, which when I was in high school pre-Hamlet, I hated Shakespeare. And yet they're all like high school freshmen that are coming in just looking for the experience. I think that no matter what, Mansfield wants art. And I think especially the younger students and the younger kids around here, they want to perform. So giving them an outlet during the summer when most theaters are on their break, like it lines up perfectly with Shakespeare in the Park.
All right, June 19, 2021, the Mansfield Shakespeare Company doing Hamlet at South Park. What are the show times each day?
7:30 for Friday and Saturday evening, 3:30 for Sunday afternoon.
And people can bring blankets, chairs, or they should bring blankets and chairs because you don't have places necessarily for them to sit, right?
Right. It is a picnic environment, so we want people as close to the stage as they can get. The blankets help, the picnic or the chairs help, but it's really meant to be an environment where we all gather together.
Okay. Is there a website if people want to get more information after hearing this today? Where can they go?
There is a website. I'm going to ask my offstage guide here to tell me what it is. Is it mansfieldshakespeare.com? I'm hoping some version of that.
Somebody look that up because I do have a bonus question before we get to that. Didn't know if I was going to get to this today, but I want to throw it in. if Hamlet was living in Mansfield, Ohio in 2026, what do you think he would be posting about on social media? Would it be drama, philosophy, or complaints about downtown road construction?
I think it would be pompous philosophy about the nature of construction in downtown Mansfield.
Oh, so it'd be like everybody today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sitting in his parents' basement.
He'll think that he knows better than everybody, but in reality, he's just a pompous asshole.
Hamlet sounds a lot like me. I got to say that. All right, did we find out if there's a website? Because we'll put a link to it in the show notes if there is one.
Oh, so I was off by 3 letters. MansfieldShakespeare.org.
There
We're
you go,
fancy.
folks.
We're .org.
I will come out during Tech Week, and we will get some pictures and preview the show and let folks know as we get closer. But we're going to wrap up this part of the show there. Guys, thanks for being part of our 100th podcast.
Thank you.
Break a Leg at South Park with Hamlet, presented by the Mansfield Shakespeare Company. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having
Go
us.
see it, people. It's free.
All right, folks. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by our musical guest, Cody Nicolas. Please, please, please stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Newsman Weekly podcast. We are recording our 100th episode before a live audience. Well, kind of alive. I think most people here are still drawing breath.
Yeah, they're
And
still
we're
awake.
doing it at Relaxed. It's Just Coffee in downtown Mansfield. Paul Kimmerly believed in this show way before anybody else did. Agreed to sponsor it. I'm sure he's had many moments since then when he's wanted to reconsider, but we've already cashed the check, so he has no choice. All right, joining us now is Mansfield musician Cody Nicolas. Cody, I know this is damn early in the morning for a musician. So my youngest son has tried to be a musician. I know he didn't like to get up until the sun has warmed the earth. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for agreeing to share a couple of songs with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, as we get started, tell us about yourself. Where are you from, and what do you do when you're not making music, man?
Well, I'm originally from a little town called Grant, Michigan. Just a half hour north of Grand Rapids is where that's at. I moved here in New Year's Eve 2011. I moved to Mansfield, Ohio. And when I'm not playing music, I'm a dad, like, pretty much full time.
Excellent.
I have little odd jobs here and there,
Yep.
so I can pay for the gas and groceries.
Paying for gas and groceries when you're dad is always a good thing.
Yeah, it's like top 3 rules.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. Even after your kids grow up, you still might be buying some gas and groceries.
I was going to say, it's kind of like my parents are paying for his groceries,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
if you think
know,
about the
just never really
trickle-down
stopped.
effect.
It's
Go
a
shopping
li-
at mom and dad's.
It's a lifetime contract, brother. Now,
Make the boomers
for
pay
people
for it.
not familiar with your music, how would you describe your sound in 1 or 2 sentences?
Well, the actual sound itself is kind of like this pretty haunting, and that together is pretty haunting. And then, I do a lot of finger-style guitar playing, so just like dense riffs on top of girly vocals.
I like it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We call it math rock, right?
Math rock is the
That's the
official
genre.
term.
Okay.
Is the official term? Yeah.
I didn't hear you, Zach. What'd you say?
Math rock.
Math rock?
Yeah.
Math rock. If you follow me on social media, Cody Michael Nicolas, I have a whole PSA on the math rock subgenre and its origins and
Excellent.
things to compare it to.
When I was growing up in South Georgia, we were listening to the Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner and Molly Hatchet, and I don't think any of them could do math. So
Well,
glad to have you.
You know, the math part is really just all a facade. It's if you can count to 4, you're solid. You're good.
Okay, I have
my
5
kinda genre.
fingers on each hand.
That's
so
all
I'm
you
good for
need,
that.
you
Yeah,
know, and then
yeah.
you can subdivide that into 3 into 2. You're good.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into a song, who were the biggest musical influences on you growing up, and how did they still show up in your music today?
Well, I wasn't allowed to listen to anything but like Christian music until I was in middle school, other than the Beatles was okay, which was incredible. I'm still a huge Beatles fan. I keep finding out more about the Beatles as I get older, and I think the Beatles just kind of shows up in everybody's music, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
But just considering, I don't know, you think about from a songwriter's perspective, and then you, even with the Beatles, get 4 different songwriter perspectives. Yeah. Beatles, man. I don't even care if that's cliche. The Beatles.
I love the Beatles. All
Yeah.
right. Before we get too far along, let's get to a song. And what are you going to play first for us today?
This is they're all original tunes that I do. This one's called Daryl Licht.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Nicolas.
Rock on.
Chores in the upkeep, deaf to all the floorboard creaks, ignoring all the roof leaks, dripping sheets and spring storms, and as far as I know, could have been there since the summer before, or the one before that. Turned my back to the arachnid, said no more, and as far over, allied by the dust and dog hair settled in the corner. Put too much faith in my doubt. Whenever I'm looking out this glass block window in this derelict house, in this derelict house. Abiding by the writer's rule of three, the superpower overpowered me, but left a little sunroom to store my sins with a bench seat. And turns out all I need, a fair square 10 feet by 10 feet, dedicated to incubate my dreams and wishes. They needed more room to fit in. Plan my escape to the south. Embrace the chill looking out this glass block window in this derelict house. In this derelict house. Faith in my doubts. Whenever I'm looking out this glass block window in this derelict house. Oh, I could picture it now, a view that's worth making out in glass block windows in this derelict house. Thank you.
Great song. Oh, yeah. So, are we back on? Oh, sorry.
Check.
All right. Cody, kind of take us in inside your creative process. When you go to write a song, does it start with the lyric? Does it start with the melody? Or is it just an idea that won't leave you alone?
It always starts with a guitar riff, because in my mind, that's what I am first and foremost, is a guitar player. And it's also the most dense part of the song usually is the guitar riff, so let's just do the hard thing first. Also, just generally, I feel like it is easier to write a vocal melody if you already got the music written down, as opposed to like having the vocal melody first and trying to find the music later. But I have, as far as lyrically, I just have a notes in my phone and also an active journal where if I think of something like a good line or something, I'll write it down and I'll revisit it later. And they sometimes get used and sometimes they don't. I was actively writing poetry for a long time, but I kind of gotten away from that a little bit. And I'm kind of now getting back into it, but I've lost too many journals at this point. Really, like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, the last journal I lost, I was like, oh, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I think I'm done. Then I saw that movie Patterson with Adam Driver, the Jim Jarmusch movie, and that's what he's just a bus driver who writes poetry, and then his dog eats his journal, and I cried.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel that, man.
If it's not the movie Cars, Hayden hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hayden has not seen a movie that's not animated. So
What's your favorite one, Cars?
Oh, I gotta go. One's classic.
One's
and then
classic?
One, then 3, then 2.
3. I know 2 is just like we take this whole
Two's a little
secret
out there.
mission.
Oh, look at this.
Hayden
Yeah.
becomes a top secret
a little bit out
agent,
there.
becomes
I've
a top
met my
secret
people.
agent and stuff. It's just like
Yeah.
we're really getting away
Thank
from
you,
the plot.
Cody.
I'm so happy they got Michael. What is this? He does the. He's the butler, Alfred. Oh, I'm dying.
Keaton.
No, he's the
I don't know.
butler
It's
in
Batman.
Batman. He's the
Yeah.
butler in Batman, the
Yeah.
British butler.
Yeah, see, this is what happened.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. So embarrassing. I forget Michael
Hey.
Caine's name.
And
God forbid.
I'm going to encourage you two guys to continue that conversation after the show.
Okay.
Because you're the only people here that's actually seen Cars.
Oh.
But
Has an opinion on it.
yeah. Thank you very much,
It's
Maggie.
good cinema.
All right, Cody, what are you working on right now that fans should be excited about over the next year? What do you got going on musically in your life?
My band Narrow Arrow is in the middle of finishing our second full-length record. Nope, third full-length record. Third full-length record. Big 3. And it's just the biggest one we've ever done, so it's taken a long time. And then we're also hitting the road on June 11th. We're doing a big kickoff at Brass House Boardroom.
Excellent.
With a bunch of local bands, all awesome local bands. But yeah, we'll be kicking off and we'll be hitting the road for 10 days out to Minneapolis and back.
All right. When people listen to your music, what do you kind of hope they're taking away from it?
I'm just grateful they're listening to it in 2026 because there's an infinite amount of things to listen to, and it's kind of insane that statistically that I got your attention at all for any sort of amount of time. So if you connect with anything, amazing. The fact that you checked it out and decided that it wasn't for you even, that's amazing. Like, how did I get you there? What was it that got you there? Because we need to get more people to make that jump to find it anyway. But yeah.
All right, before we get to the last song, I'm going to give you a bonus question. You're driving through Mansfield with your windows down. It's a nice summer day. You got your playlist on. What 3 songs, not your own, but what 3 songs are on your perfect summer playlist?
I am probably just listening to Bad Bunny all summer, honestly.
All right, yeah.
Yep.
Summertime.
I think, I heard Debí tirar más foto the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm hooked. It's all soca,
Oh, yeah.
Todo soca, mi
Yep.
perro. Yeah, but Bad Bunny summer probably. Also, Beach Boys' Pet Sounds is going to be
Oh,
always Beach Boys.
Beach Boys.
Probably the second best album ever recorded.
Yeah. I've loved just hearing about it and Brian
gotta give
Brian
Sgt.
Wilson. The rest of the band didn't like that record.
Well, you know what? But Brian Wilson listened to Sgt. Pepper, and he said, I got to do
I need-
something cool.
I need something like
and I'm
this.
going to do this song, and you guys are going to play it
For sure.
because I write the song.
He's like, listen, I just need your vocals.
Yeah.
Because Dad said so, maybe.
All right, Cody, we got time for one more song.
All right.
What do you have for us for a second song today?
It's a new one. It's a bit of an upbeat one. It's called Pen Quinn.
All right, very
All right.
good. Cody Nicolas,
Bring it
everybody.
down.
This song is about how church won't save you. Angel wings are feathers, demon wings are skin. paper thin, strange. Old depictions lifted right from a frame with skin. Oh, so pillowcase so avian, hunching forward, chagrin. Mother likes the east wind, father takes the west. My wings have no direction or even a compass. Strange to sharpen your arrow before you aim and found. Looking is the only way you see out. Hunching forward, chagrin. Gotta quit pulling punches, fight today. Someone tell these people they made a mistake. The second coming came and you were second rate. You gotta quit pulling punches, fight the fate. Someone tell them that the words didn't translate. The second coming came and you were second rate. Your soul can be saved. Cody, Nicolas, thank you.
Wow, wow, wow.
Cody, that's excellent. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Best of luck with upcoming shows and your band back out on tour.
Thank you, Newsman and Richland Source. Yeah, thank you for
right.
having me.
Thank you very much. Folks, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Mansfield Mayor Jodie Perry and City Engineer Bob Bianchi. Give us a few minutes. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back to the final segment of our special 100th episode of the Newsman Weekly Podcast.
Live.
We are taping this show live in front of a live audience at Relax It's Just Coffee in downtown Mansfield. Thanks for joining us. Joining us now are Mansfield Mayor Jodie Perry and City Engineer Bob Bianchi. Thanks to both of you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, let's dive in. That's okay. You can applaud.
Yeah.
Mixed reaction.
That's
there.
the first time Bob's been applauded since he graduated from college, so he's always
That's
happy
right.
to hear it. We are sitting beside Main Street, so it did seem to make some sense to talk about the thing people might have thought about over the last few months, the Main Street Improvement Project. So, all right, Jodie, what are the biggest changes residents and visitors will notice when the Main Street Corridor Improvement Project is finished in October?
Well,
October, that's correct.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest change is going to be two-way streets, so that you're not going to be able to ignore that. So, that was one of the basis of the projects, was that we wanted to make Main Street more accessible and a little bit more of a destination rather than just the superhighway that it had become on a one-way street. But beyond the streets setup itself, I think people are going to see a lot of changes. This corridor right now is a really good example of that. You're seeing all the new lights up. You're seeing the new banners, the new baskets that are up, sandstone walls, the new mid-block crosswalks that are going in, all of the brick. What you're not seeing anymore is crumbling sidewalk and weeds growing up through the bricks and things that look like they're not being taken care of. So we're really excited that it's going to be a much better first impression when you come to Mansfield.
Well, when you talk about making this two-way, then I remember back, Bob, you were the engineer, obviously, then when you guys converted Mulberry to two-way and then Diamond to two-way. When you were doing those, was the idea in the back of your mind, eventually we're going to get Main Street two-way as well?
The way we converted the streets was very strategic, starting with, of course, a lower impact street, Mulberry, but also the way we would lead up to Main Street. So imagine if Diamond was one way right now, southbound, during closures of Main Street. So that's helped as well. But this is the progression. Mulberry, Diamond's more difficult, and of course this is the most difficult one and most noticeable.
So the question everybody's going to ask or is asking, is Main Street wide enough to be a two-way street?
It is, with the right amount of traffic. Of course, as the mayor alluded to, being a highway, just to get through downtown is how it acted since the 50s. But converting it to two-way, there will be more destination traffic and less through traffic. So as we say, this is the to street, not the through street. Mulberry is more of a through street for traffic. So
now we are in a active construction zone, so I made Bob keep on his reflective vest just in case he has to wander outside and do any engineering.
Right, I'm
out
watching
there.
construction right now.
Safety first.
Watching.
So I always want to keep Bob safe if he has to wander away from us. But Bob, what's been the most challenging aspects of managing a project of this size in the heart of the city? And did you have any idea? I mean, you helped design it, but did you have any idea what it was going to be like?
I thought I knew what it was going to be like, but I can't imagine, never could imagine how many underground crossings and how many different things are underground, abandoned. I never could have imagined that we'd run into something like that. From 5th Street to 1st, when they did the water line, they discovered 94 unknown utilities.
And these are not, I mean, you have a
94.
map of such stuff.
And we
but
have
this-
a map.
yeah.
We have history. We have a map, but that's how many was unknown. Now, a lot of them, about 80% of them were abandoned, but you have to treat every utility when you, obviously, as live before you have to investigate it, determine if it is live or not.
All right. So how much of the project, we're sitting at the first day of June, how much of the project has been completed so far, and what are kind of the major milestones that are still ahead?
I'm thinking 62%.
62%. You ask an engineer
Very
a percentage,
specific.
he will give you an No, you sure it's not 62.4?
Right, 0.4, 0.5.
At the end of the day,
numbers.
it'll be 0.4.
0.4,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we're good.
Oh,
Yes,
we jumped
right.
another 0.4. Congratulations, Bob.
So yeah, no, they're moving along much. You're seeing a lot of construction happening. The surface level construction, of course, last year was all underground utility. It's a mess. Now we're putting it back together, so it's looking so much better. Of course, they're moving from north to south. Plazas will be started up again after the closure of Park Avenue. And so it's moving right along. It's exciting to see. Lots of subcontractors on site as well.
All right, Jody, I think you've probably heard some feedback from residents and downtown businesses since this project began in the spring of 2025. I suspect a lot of it's been negative, but some may have also been positive. How has feedback from both sides helped shape the project in 2026 versus what was done in 2025?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
We definitely have had a lot of feedback, not all negative. So don't believe everything you read on Facebook. Lots of people are excited about the project, but we absolutely know that it has come with some pain, and certainly the largest amount for the downtown businesses. I don't think, I know what I expected last year, and it wasn't what happened. Though what happened was what was planned to happen, but I'm not sure that any of us really fully understood the depth and the impact of that underground water work. And then all of those complications that Bob highlighted just made it, more difficult. And every time it felt like we were seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, then something else would happen and, things just got extended. By the end of the year, it felt like we were learning a bit more about how to make sure that we were staying ahead of the communication and making sure that we're being responsive. I do want to give a shout out to our third partner on this project, which is Jennifer Kime from Downtown Mansfield, Inc.
Yes, for the record, I did invite Jennifer Kime to be here. She denied me, said she was going to be traveling, and she said, "You never have me on your show." I said, "Jen, I've invited you 3 times. You're always traveling. How about you stay downtown once?"
Well, she's been here for a while, but
Yeah.
she is skedaddling right now. But Yes. So she, downtown Mansfield really has been a lot of the face of the project from a communication standpoint. We did that very deliberately. They have a very big reach on their social media. They've had Braxton out taking photos and just a lot of good communication. But at the end of the day, I understand until you're standing there or trying to drive through, the communication all sounds fine until you're like met with, why can't I go southbound on whatever street that is closed at that moment.
I didn't mean to send you that text the other day.
That's okay. You're
why
not the
can't
only
I
one.
go? But all right, let's fast forward to next spring. All of this is done. It's been done since October, right, Bob?
It will be done end of October.
All right, so let's go to next spring. It's all open. The street's been repaved. I think you're going to repave the street once everything is done.
Yes.
Do you have to mill up a bunch of it, or
we're going to mill up 2 3/4 inches of pavement, put the pavement back, and then restripe it 2-way.
All right. Now, once that's all done, Jodie, you were a Chamber of Commerce person for years. You know how this stuff works. How are these improvements going to help attract new investment, development, and visitors back downtown?
Well, I would actually argue we're already seeing that. So, the announcements, we've had 2 pretty big announcements for downtown happen this year already. The first was the hugely impactful gift that the Ferniacs are making to the foundation and their decision to cultivate downtown housing. So we're going to be starting with 100 market rate housing units. I believe that construction will start probably later this year. I'm not really, I don't have the exact date on that. And that's exactly what we wanted to happen. When we did Mansfield Rising, downtown housing was one of the foundational pieces to come out of it. And we've seen bits of it come alive, but we really haven't seen it in any great effect. And so I think that announcement was really key. And then the second one was the announcement of the investment in the downtown hotel. Technically not on Main Street, but just as impactful to downtown Mansfield, and something that we really have needed for a while. So I think we're starting to see it, but I think you will continue to see private investment following public investment. I've worked in many communities in my career, and whenever there has been a substantial catalytic investment by the public sector, it has always been followed on by private sector money, because it just sends a message like, hey, it's safe to invest here. I can put my money in Mansfield because the city is taking care of itself.
And I thought you were going to mention a third thing, because we saw him outside sweeping a little bit ago. Dan Liu buying the Coney Island Diner
this
business.
This is also true, yes.
He told me
Coney is safe.
He told me he wasn't taking over until early July, but we did see him with a broom out sweeping this morning, even before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me with Dan.
Dan's busy.
He knows what he's doing.
He does, so we look forward to that. He did tell me he's keeping the Coney dogs and the pea salad. Other than that, we'll see what
there could be a riot if he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But
I heard he was going to turn it into a Park National Bank, actually.
Too soon, Zach.
No wonder he doesn't want to sit up here. He's scared. He's hiding.
Zach, I got to tell you, when I
soon.
asked Jodie to be on the show, the one thing she said is, we're not talking Park National Bank. So thank you for violating the one thing
I'll turn my mic off now.
Yeah. Carl, it's time. It's time for my usual interjection. But
okay, Hayden has a thought, which
I do.
He doesn't have them often. So when he does, we like to nurture them and grow them. So Hayden, please.
It
feel
usually
free to
takes
interject.
me a while to articulate a question, but this might be for you, Bob, because now, if people don't know, I report on the city of Ashland. There's also some development going on down there in what they call the Pump House District, but similar to here, people get frustrated when things have to close down, when roads have to close down. I get it. I drive down here every day. But they've been able to keep a lot of things open strategically at different times. And the reality is, probably in the world of any contractor, the most ideal thing would be to put a whole fence around that thing. You're essentially dropping an active construction zone in the middle of a city. So to be able to keep portions open, I mean, what kind of challenges has that presented? But also, how have you been able to accomplish keeping some things open when you've got people working right there, but still giving people the ability to flow? I drove past Friday and I said, well, now a lot of people can suddenly find downtown again and see that it is open. So what are some of the ways that you can accommodate people and keep things open while trying to do all this?
God, I was praying there was a question in there
is
somewhere.
A question.
So the to give you a frame of reference, the construction plan is about 500 sheets. About 80 sheets of that is called maintenance of traffic. How do you maintain traffic through the project, both vehicular and pedestrian, especially as you have to build something across the roadway. For instance, the brick crosswalks, right? The roadway needs to be closed fully closed to make that just right. So there's a lot of thought into it in terms of how pedestrians are going to get from here to there. And there's also, when we bring the contractor in, they have ideas. They have some different routes that may be more easier. And if they could they built a bridge at one point there by a bridge, but a crosswalk from the carousel.
Not for cars, just to be
Not for
clear.
cars, for pedestrians, because it was so important to get pedestrians from the parking lot to the carousel, and they made that happen for us. But it's very difficult and challenging.
And I'll just say, a lot of the other closed roads off of Main Street aren't necessarily because of Main Street. We do also have very old water mains throughout the city. And so I know absolutely one of the things I have heard probably the most often is, who the heck decided to close every road in Mansfield at once?
That was just
Carl's
me.
definitely never said
that was
that.
just
Yeah,
me.
I mean, I might have even thought it myself one day trying to get out of downtown. But the answer is, nobody decided on a lot of them. A lot of them just needed to get fixed. But we have just made a change at the city that's going to allow us to get some of those water main holes fixed more quickly, so that once the main is fixed, we can get the hole filled back in and concreted over and get the road back open. You just saw that out on Millsboro. They had to fix one, and it was concreted over within a couple days. So we're hopeful that some of that starts to abate a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be honest, several months ago I was trying to drive home at the end of the day, and I kept having to turn right because every time I wanted to go straight or turn left, it was closed. So I started taking pictures of the signs that said, go this way, and I sent them to Bob. And I said, I got to drive to Ontario before I can actually turn left. So.
And I said, you got to go to Galleon, actually.
Yeah, that'd be the next step. Right up there on 309.
Yep. Eventually
until
you'll
the state closes that for a roundabout.
Right.
That's very good. We're going to talk about roundabouts in a minute, but all right.
Okay.
Bob, one of the things I don't think people realize, because you guys have alluded to it, but the water lines underneath Main Street were more than a couple years old.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you had to dig them up and replace them. Talk about the status of those water lines and also water lines around the city that are part of the water main infrastructure project.
So the water main down Main Street is 12 inches, and it was built in 1924, a portion of it, and then in 1934.
I did not cover that.
So about
I'm just telling you at the
100
time.
years old. And we thought the last thing we need is to build beautiful streetscape, beautiful brick, sandstone, and then of course the water line were to break and we have to dig it up. So brand new water line needed replaced. It broke before. And then we also have on the other side 4-inch water mains throughout our downtown, about 40 miles. Old lines, over 100 years old. They're still active, and they just don't provide the firefighting volume of water that's needed.
Yeah, you had shown, I think when you just started the first one, you had a section of that line, and it was like maybe that much was actually, for those watching, it's actually like that much water
Right.
able to flow through it.
Yes. So what happens is the steel tuberculates and collects.
Tuberculates.
I was
Man,
waiting
it's
for that.
Monday,
I knew
Bob.
that would come out.
I am not ready
That's
for-
tuberculation.
Tuberculation.
Carl.
Tuberculation.
Use it in a sentence today.
Yes.
Yes.
So a
Spell
4-inch pipe is not a 4-inch pipe. It's more like a hose, right? It's just shrunk down, and it's got a lot of friction. Water doesn't move through it very well, and it needs to be replaced with an 8-inch water main. So minimum right now today is the requirement is an 8-inch water main. And an 8-inch water main is not twice the size of a 4-inch because it's pi r squared. It's much larger.
Wow, tuberculation
Yeah,
and pi r squared.
It's much larger.
This is why we
I was
have
talking
Bob
about
Bianchi on the
Cars,
show.
the movies, and now we're
So
talking
pi r squared. Look at Tony Beer over there trying to do math.
Yeah, so
Take his shoes off in a minute to count
much
above
more
20.
volume. You can see the difference. We have video of before hydrant and post construction, and the difference is just fantastic. It's great.
All right. And one of the things that I thought about this when I looked at it, when the project is complete, Jodie, Bob, either one of you, what part what one section are you personally most excited? Is there a street section? Is there a particular thing that you're most excited for people to see and experience? And Bob, you can't mention Pi R squared or tuberculation.
Okay, yeah. So for Main Street or anywhere?
Yeah, Main Street.
I'm excited about the North Plaza. There's going to be, of course, the fountain's completely rehabbed, and there will be a runnel.
A what?
A runnel.
A water wall, basically.
A water wall? Okay. A runnel.
Yeah, a runnel.
Hayden, are you writing these down? Tuberculation, Pi R squared, and runnel.
Runnel.
I don't know if I can.
So it's this little, this movement of water through a 1 foot wide stream that feeds the fountain, and it gets pumped back up.
Is it going to be like a lazy river? Can I go float in it?
It's not a. By the way, it's not a urinal. It's a
runnel.
runnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Thank
had.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
so,
you for clarifying.
Yeah. So it we call it the.
You're still going to get fired when the show's over, Bob. What was your plan for career after
Why
public service?
Why is that your favorite
Bob?
part, Bob?
Well,
I'm gonna bring you back.
Maybe the first time we cut something.
It's going to be like a living room.
living
Okay,
room.
so it's sunk down in, okay, and you walk down into it. It's got beautiful sandstone. The fountain's there. The goal is to separate, make that a little Kingwood that's separated from traffic.
All right.
And just, yeah.
That's good.
A place where people want to be.
I like that. Jodie, what's going to be your favorite part? And try not to use the word runnel as part of your
I don't
answer.
know what it is, so
No,
you're safe with me.
Thank you very much.
I think for me, it is the catenary lights in this section. Which
what?
The catenary lights.
Catenary lights.
Which are the lights that are gonna, if you see the strings is probably not the right word. The wires that are going between the poles out here. We're gonna have lights hanging over the streets, and I'm really excited to see that. We're also gonna have one of our ring lights at the mid-block crosswalk. And then second to me is to see the arches go in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about those. I think that's going to, I know a lot of communities have them, but for us, I think that's really going to set the square off really nicely and just really demarcate that you're arriving someplace that's really special.
Very good. I'm going to ask both of you to look 5 or 10 years into the future. How is this project going to change, by that time, the look and feel of economics, commercial, residential? What's it going to be like 5 or 10 years from now? And use English,
so
Bob.
I'll yeah. Just to go off what the mayor said earlier, I was doing yard work yesterday, and I noticed how beautiful my neighbor's yard is. I'm like, man, they mowed again? Now I got to mow.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
hate that
like,
feeling.
yeah, you look at this like, well, look how nice their yard looks. I need to do something with my yard, you know, kind of keep up. And so I think it's in part, you know, as a city takes care of the infrastructure that we have, I think it might entice others to continue to take care of things and make things more beautiful. This street did not represent who we were and are as a people. The mayor always talks about we deserve better. We deserve that we can have nice things. And so this street is showing that, and it's becoming a reality. So I think others will follow. I really do.
I would say, you know, if you think about if we're standing here in 5 or 10 years, you're going to see things, they won't look quite so new. They'll be lived in. The flowers and the trees are going to be a little bit fuller. I think you're going to see more people walking downtown on a regular basis. I think you're going to see more restaurants and more activity, more retail returning. The upper level stories are going to be lit at night because people are going to be living in them. And some of the empty spaces are going to be filled. So I'm really excited because I think it's going to transform downtown into just what it is meant to be and what it really was if you think about 100 years ago. And, you know, when these water mains were put in, it was boomtown. And I think that, you know, it's going to look different than it did back then, but I think it's going to be just as cared for, just as successful. And, you know, we're seeing that beyond just downtown in the city, which is exciting to me.
And I will tell folks who don't think progress can happen, when I came to town in 1990, we would not be sitting in this room. In fact, you wouldn't be sitting in any of these buildings downtown because they were all closed, boarded up, And nobody came downtown after dark, and I've said this before, unless you wanted to go to a dive bar or a brothel, because that's kind of what downtown was at the time. So, all right, I got time. I saved one question. Buc-ee's is coming up tomorrow night, or tonight, depending upon when you listen to
Couldn't
this.
help themselves.
To City Council, because I made a note. Buc-ee's questions, if we have time. Give me the Cliff Notes version of what people can expect Tuesday night at City Council with Buc-ee's.
So Tuesday night is the development agreement night. So we will have Angela Yannick from Buc-ee's back again. She was here with us last week at Planning Commission. We're also going to have Scott Ratcliffe, which is their Buc-ee's engineer. So I know there have been questions. So even though we're talking about the incentives and the development, I do think we're going to hear a little bit more about, the technical side of things. We absolutely have had questions from neighbors, rightfully so. There has been ongoing dialogue with them behind the scenes, but I think tomorrow night we'll be able to also for council and for the broader community hear a little bit more about that. But the heart of it is really the development agreement. And these are a little bit newer for the city to be doing. But basically it's a contract between Buc-ee's and the city. They're going to do this. We're going to provide these things. And this is such a unique development. First of all, it takes an enormous amount of public infrastructure. As you mentioned, there will be 3 roundabouts built with this. Water
3,
and
Bob, 3.
Yeah, I know.
That's correct.
Do you see the glow in his the glint in his eyes?
You were going to jump ahead of Adam Gove.
Yes.
In one fell swoop.
Yes.
County Engineer Adam Gove is going to be so jealous.
The roundabout race.
Yeah.
So, and then we have to run water and sewer under 71, just minor details, right? It was all set up for that, by the way, and it's probably not as crazy as it sounds. But anyways, it's many, many, many millions of dollars. And so we're able to tap a new tool, like you and I talked about last week. It's called a new community authority. And so essentially the visitors to Buc-ee's will pay Buc-ee's back for the public infrastructure and only the public infrastructure. Nobody's paying anything back for their building or their gas pumps or all of that. They spend about $50 million to build the site, which is incredible. And it just, they won't tell you how much money they earn, but we know it is a lot because they're not blinking at a lot of things. And so that's essentially what we're going to talk about and how that all works. And that's the last step of the public side of it. They will then have to close on their land, and they have to get to work on the drawings and all the engineer and architecture things. I don't believe they've been doing that as it goes along. They wanted to make sure that the project was going to move forward.
So you're telling me that the local taxpayers are not going to pay for the roundabouts and the water and sewer lines?
Only if they go to Buc-ee's.
There you go.
And it's not on gas, by the way.
No.
That's the other piece. So, if you go get brisket, you might pay a little bit. But if you choose to never go to Buc-ee's, you will never put a dime into their public infrastructure.
Now, this is a 2% development charge.
Yes.
On everything non-fuel.
Yes. And, if a lot of people like to go to the Short North in Columbus, if you're going to the Short North, you're paying such a fee. If you go to Disney World, you pay such a fee. You may not know it, but it's there. And visitors at Disney World are putting in those new roads and the new sewers and all of that. And so that's essentially how this is going to work. And they'll get paid back over a couple decades.
Now, Bob, are you excited to meet with your fellow engineer tomorrow and talk about boring underneath the interstate?
Yes, I am. So the idea
He's
is...
so earnest, isn't he?
He is.
The idea is to move traffic efficiently and safely through that area because there's going to be a lot of traffic. We know that. We've visited Buc-ee's. We saw the impact. And our goal with ODOT, with Buc-ee's, of course, the mayor, and the county commissioner, Tony Vero, our job, we have looked at this carefully, and we want to see if we can have the best possible outcome from a traffic-related perspective as we can.
And I just would add, away from the traffic, but again, this is such a unique project where everybody is winning on this. So obviously the city it's getting annexed, we'll get income tax. The county is going to see an incredible amount of sales tax, which is awesome for the community. The townships get to keep their property tax because of the way we did the annexation, and the schools get all of the property tax. There's no abatement. That is so rare when you're talking about development. Usually you need one of those tools to get someone in here. So again, it's just really a cool project that I think is going to actually drive more things behind it.
Well, that's excellent. Folks, it is that hour. We are going to wrap up today's show on that note. My thanks to Mayor Jodie Perry and Bob Bianchi and all of our guests for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
And
Thank you.
Thanks to all of you.
And that's going to be it for us. 100 episodes on tape now being shipped off to the Podcast Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Many thanks to Paul Kimmerling and our friends at Relax It's Just Coffee. Many thanks to all of you for joining us today here at Relax It's Just Coffee. Quite frankly, it went far better than I thought it could have imagined. For now, thanks again to all of you for listening to the Newsman Weekly. I'll be back in a second to put a bow on this week's episode, but until then, remember what author Mark Twain once said. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Have a great week, everybody.